the over-commercialization of art and how that symbolically mirrors technology impeding human connections.
You're way too smart for this. You should be asking dopey questions. I'm not used to this.
Your chin could plow a field.
Your legs don't make any sense.
Your hairline doesn't make any sense.
Hi, I'm Genevieve of the Lady Genevieve YouTube channel. I'm so sorry that I'm late. I got my time zones mixed up. It's really, I thought, yeah.
They said to me, she's not here. I'm like, oh, she's going to be here. Don't you worry.
You knew she's far too unhinged to miss this. This is a monumental occasion.
That's
right.
So
to get things started, One Night Only originates from a #1 blacklist screenplay by Travis Braun. It's full of satire and commentary on the state of modern dating and why that's so difficult. How much of that satire and humor was in the original screenplay, and how much of what we see is your own comedic voice infused by reworking the material?
Travis did a great job of building the idea and the concept and an incredible script. Then I meet the actors, decide who to cast, figure out what's good about them, what their strengths are. Monica sings. I wrote the thing about her singing. Callum is this great-looking guy, so you want to put him in situations that kind of knocks him down a peg. So the naked scene. So it's always a process and a moving process. And making movies it's constantly changing dynamic. That's the fun part. And then when you go on the streets of New York and you think of a good idea and you do that, and the Little Red Lighthouse meant a lot to me when I grew up. So it's all this kind of movable stuff that you all people put all their ingredients as a team in there, and it becomes hopefully a movie that people want to watch.
One of your comedic signatures is a meta sense of humor. And when I spoke to you about Anyone But You, I asked if you were using Natasha Bedingfield, again, in the film soundtrack, to be self-referential about your own work and what you're known for. You said at the time that it was purely coincidence, but now in One Night Only, we've got 3 cameos from Anyone But You actors. There was a character, once again, wrestling with a hand dryer. You name-dropped Much Ado About Nothing and Beatrix Potter when you've directed 2 Peter Rabbit movies. What inspired this move to fully embrace being meta about your own work in your new work?
I think in all my work, there's just as many as the old stuff, if you look at the other stuff. I love doing that. It's fun. It's always a day of decision to do that kind of stuff. It always makes me happy and makes me laugh. And I love bringing old actors back for the new movies just so we can hang out with them. It's fun. I mean, it's fun. And also, someone just asked me today, could they all exist in the universe? Well, because all my movies take place in modern day, of course they could. They could all be together. It's not like this takes place on planet Neptune or something. So yeah, they could totally. But I'm glad you found. I'm trying to think. Did you miss any of the references? But that was pretty good. That's pretty good.
I tried to find your family. I feel like your family always cameos, but maybe it's because I'm watching it on my laptop, so I think if I see it on the big screen, it'll be easier to find that.
No, I think it's because my daughters got older, and now they don't look like. Yes, they're both in it, and my dad's in it, and they all have pretty big parts. You missed my dad?
Oh my God! From the plane and Anyone But You.
Yes.
I'll rewatch it. I will find him.
My dad and my kids have been in every single one of my movies.
Nothing small about me. What the fuck?
Music has a significant presence in your filmography, and now again in One Night Only. We don't have Natasha Bedingfield this time, but we do have this very wacky concept of pop songs being covered and lyrically rewritten to sell medical products. Was this a way of satirizing the over-commercialization of art and how that symbolically mirrors technology impeding human connections?
You're way too smart for this. You should be asking dopey questions. I'm not used to this.
I have at least one on here if we get to it.
A dopey question? Okay. It's definitely my attempt to satirize the fact that we advertise drugs to patients in this country. It's crazy to me that we advertise drugs. For me to ask my doctor about a blood cancer drug. I think if I went to a blood cancer doctor, he might be up on this, or she might be up on this. And it is also, it's exactly what you said about the art. It's in this character, Monica Barbaro, is an incredible singer, and by any account, if she told people, I'm a New York City singer and I sing in all these commercials, it's an incredible job, and she's making it, but to her, she feels less than, because she can't perform in front of people. So it is the kind of, if you really want to get deep about this, the last interview of the day, it is the kind of thing about, like, no matter how successful we think we are, or people think we are, we always think, I think, like, oh, but this is not, there's always something else. There's always something else. So I tend to always look at the, but Someone just said to me just a second ago, why are rom-coms second-class movies? And I was like, oh, you motherfucker. So it's like they're always something that tries to take you down.
But was that the reporter's actual opinion, or were they asking that from the perspective that that's how they're treated by the industry and the pundits?
How can you answer that question? There's no way of knowing the answer to that question.
Because I mean, you know I love rom-coms, but I will
I know you
also
do.
say that they're not treated well by the industry at large and by the very
He had an
pretentious
interesting-
cinephiles.
He had an interesting answer, actually, for that. I asked him, why does he think that? And he says, because they're thought of as women's movies. They're thought of, so it's misogynistic, which is, I would think, is the answer, to be honest.
What?
That's just a typical lady answer.
What?
It is.
Oh, okay.
That very well could be. By the way, this is the third new rom-com I have seen released this year with Robin in the soundtrack. So perhaps when you do your next rom-com, we could get her and Natasha Bedingfield to record a duet.
Yes.
You know, an
So wait,
original
hold on.
built-in.
Voicemails from Isabel. What's the other one?
And if you do me right, then I'ma do right by you. And then it's done about and about to thank you.
This is the theater. We're talking about movies in theaters, not on streamers. I don't
Of
count
course.
this.
No, listen, I agree.
I'm hungry.
Huh?
I'm hungry.
Huh?
So hungry.
We're closed.
It's my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah, me too.
One Night only introduces us to Owen and Allie, who exist in a world where premarital sex is illegal except for one night a year. This leads to a greater sense of urgency to find a connection and also sets up lots of hijinks. What is your process and creative inspiration for coming up with these big sequences of physical comedy?
It's always about the actors, right? So in order to make a movie, you figure out who to be in it. And it's like you spend time with the actors. You want to start hanging out with them. Oh, I like hanging out with them. I think they're gonna like hanging out with this person. They start hanging out. And once you find out that they're the right people for the movie, you say, oh my God, Callum Turner, he's this ridiculously good-looking, gigantic British model. You have to take him down a peg. The character has to. So how do we take him down a peg and make him self-effacing? That becomes him being naked with the bubble wrap scene, right? And then you have Monica Barbaro, who's an incredible singer and very confident, but also doesn't want to put on the dress because she feels that she doesn't feel comfortable in that dress. So how do we create her being uncomfortable in that dress? Have her run across the street with the mannequin. So it's always about it's even though it seems ridiculous to talk about in this second-class genre, it's how to get set pieces out of character as opposed to just randomly they could ever happen.
Well, I'm a more is more person when it comes to physical comedy. I think people forget that physical comedy built cinema as an art form. You know, these titans who built it,
Right.
Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, the Marx Brothers. So I'm never going to complain if it's fun and whimsical and,
Right.
silly, but it's difficult. I take it seriously as well.
It's hard to do and not make it feel like, oh, this is silly, because it has to feel like this character would have really made this decision. And I can tell in this movie at that moment when Monica Barbaro decides to do that in the bodega, I know why she would make this decision. It makes complete sense to me.
Speaking of that, there's a point in the film where both Owen and Allie are looking for something. And the score was really fun during this sequence. It almost sounded like we were in one of Steven Soderbergh's Ocean's movies. What were your notes or instructions that you gave for how you wanted the film's score to enhance the storytelling?
So S.D. Hyam, who did the score with Christopher Stracy, who did my last movie too, we have a very close working relationship. And I don't like traditional score. So the movies, when I have score on it, in fact, S.D. was like the first person that really, the rest of my movies don't really have score. And I said, I don't like score, but we need something. So it has to feel like it's a song that you wrote. Which means that if you notice the score in our movie, it's almost all vocal. It's all vocal. It's all her S.D. singing and Chris Strace singing, which I think is and it's hard to do, but they did such a good job. But that thing you talked about Soderbergh and Out of Sight is a big touchstone for me. So I'm glad you caught that. But instead of it just being percussion, it's S.D. singing, which I think it doesn't feel like, oh, the filmmaker's just putting in score to make you feel something. It's like, oh, this is a song that's playing in the background. But that's why they did such an amazing job on this movie, I think.
I read in another interview you did about this film that you really went above and beyond to develop the lore and rules of this legislation and how the world exists under it. There's a brief mention in the film of how queer people are able to skirt around this one night only restriction in a way that the straights cannot. Could you elaborate a bit on that? Because I was so intrigued and I wanted to know more of what you meant by that.
I will not elaborate on that, there is a moment in the movie that when Nicholas Braun's character talks about the science behind it, so you can elaborate within that and that, but I didn't want to get specific about that. I just wanted that, I just like the idea that this character played by Quintessa Swindell, who's Monica's a roommate, is just like, oh, we know how to get around shit. This is for you dummies. I just love that. I just love that concept, and you see in the movie too. It's for everybody. There's people of every sexuality doing that night. But I just love the idea. It's like $5,000 is worth more than this right now for me. That was the idea of this, because that's how much she got paid not to go out that night.
Whether this is for Callum and Monica specifically, or just broadly speaking across your films in general, what are you looking for to determine chemistry in your romantic leads?
It's kind of what I said before. It's if I want to hang out, if I want to watch them hang out together, if I want to like spend a lot of time being with them, going to dinner with them, just watching them be together, then I really believe that's chemistry. That means I think that you're going to want to watch them be together. And sometimes I like being with someone, I like being with that person, but when they're together, I don't really watch liking them, watching them be together. I always say it's like high school. If you want to put two people together to do a project, a group project, I like this person, will they work together? And then once they're together and you say, oh, I love watching these people do stuff together. That's the moment.
There are many famous films set in New York City, be they rom-coms or otherwise, and one of the ones that you reference heavily in this film is An Affair to Remember. What drew you towards that particular film and its story to thread into One Night Only?
Well, there's a very, not to give it away, but there's a very important postcard that from The Affair to Remember that plays heavily in this movie, and it's based. I don't want to give it away, but it's a very New York City based concept, and it's a very old traditional concept of what a romantic moment is, and that to me is A Affair to Remember. It kind of set the table for that. And those characters, I love the way they speak to each other. I love the way that, and they're the OGs. They're the ones that did everything we kind of trope. A trope is not, someone had to start the trope. So that movie and this postcard, which you'll see, and what happens and what does not happen at the end of this movie is what drew me to Affair to Remember.
So I probably spelled this wrong in my notes, but I have to ask, because you wanted a silly question, where did the name Salvatore Schohofer Lopez come from?
That's a good question. A completely made up nonsense name. I just love, I love names that are very specific and weird, and then especially when you find out who that person is later on in the movie, when they show a picture of who that is, I think it's just made up funny.
So I have a code phrase to share. It's very important. Sad eyes, because I watched the commentary track from Anyone But You. Commentary tracks are an essential part of documenting film history. That's why I nagged you so much about doing one for Anyone But You. Mm-hmm. Have you recorded one yet with Monica and Callum for the physical media release of One Night Only?
We have not, but we've scheduled it. I'm glad you pushed that. I love doing them too. It's fun. It's also the reason why I like doing them too. You work so hard in a movie, and then the actors go away, and then you edit, and you come back together for ADR and stuff. But it's almost like graduation party. It's like watching the movie when it's all done, and it's really fun. So we have scheduled it, and we will do one, I promise.
I am so thrilled to hear that. So funny enough, you have LeVar Burton in this film, and he's well known for reading Rainbow. And I noticed that you referenced a book about the lighthouse. So I would love for you to give a book recommendation as a way of getting people off of their phones and trying to find a meaningful connection. Because I find that books are a way for me to better connect with my audience, and I promote books a lot in libraries. Really? So if there's something you would like to recommend.
Yeah, but my books are like stupid nonfiction books.
I love nonfiction. Go ahead.
Okay. The book I just read is an incredible book, and actually my daughter read it too, coincidentally. Oh, it's called, well, there's two books. The one I just read was called London Falling by Patrick Radden Keefe, which is, Patrick Radden Keefe.
Say Nothing, yeah.
Say Nothing, and then also the Dope Sick, all that stuff about, he wrote a book called London Falling. It's a very true story about a kid in London who, I won't tell you, but that's a great, great book about stuff. And then the book that I read, my daughter also just read, coincidentally, is called Yesteryear, and they're making a movie out of it. It's just a great book about trad wives, but then there's a big twist on it. It's a great book, and Anne Hathaway's making a movie on it. We tried to do it, but Anne Hathaway scooped us. But it's a really good book if you haven't read it, Yesteryear.
I probably will because I do source material videos, so I'll get to that
Right.
at some point. My recommendation is I'm reading every book about Joan of Arc at my library
Really?
because Baz Luhrmann is doing a movie on her. So,
Oh, right.
you know,
Who's
and
playing
movies are
Joan?
Our friendship is built on our mutual distrust of England.
nobody casts unknowns anymore, let alone
true.
to lead a big movie. But
It's hard.
thank you so much for your time,
Thank
Will.
you.
Sorry about the delay
I'm
and
glad you got on.
congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thanks for being supportive. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Thanks. Bye.
You were incredible at the party tonight.
No one was listening.
I was.